Hey guys, it's Amy. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am working on a piece for a prompt. This prompt is from Shani Blue here on YouTube, who I will tag down below, and they have a prompt this month for colouring in a fairy tale, hashtag Feb23 fairy tale prompt. And I have this amazing book here, Fairy Tales Colouring Book by Tomoko Tashiro. I'm probably mispronouncing that, I do apologise, but I have not coloured in this book yet. So I felt this would be the perfect book to use, and it would give me a chance to work in one of my unworked books. So I did put on my Feb plans a little question about which page should I do, because I was debating a few of them. But I've decided I'd like to work on the 12 dancing princesses. Now, the thing about this book is it is beautiful, but my gosh, are there some details here. There is a lot of details in some of these dresses, which is really neat, but I don't want to do all that detail for some of these dresses. I could sit here and I could do all of it, but then I realized something. This page would look really cool with these dresses being detailed, but you could use washi tape for it. And I've done this before. So this is Fadorables by Selena Fennick, and I have used tape before to create the illusion of a patterned dress. So it does work better on dresses with a big expansive area. So my idea is, like, for example, with this girl up here with this dress, I could either cover the bottom in a pattern or cover this rose section up here with a pattern. Like with her, I'm thinking we might want to do this part of her dress. We could do in here, we could do in here. So it's not going to be the full dress, but I'd like to do elements of the girls' dresses and then come in with some pencil detail as well. So yeah, I have a few things in terms of supplies that we're going to need. Obviously, the big thing we're going to need is washi tape. Yeah, so I have quite a bit to choose from. Alright, so I've brought you in a lot closer so that you can kind of see what's going on. And we're going to start with this one here. And I'm going to start with this floral tape here. And then the other thing we're going to need, of course, is some sort of knife. Some sort of craft knife, some sort of Stanley knife. I happen to have a scalpel knife. It's very, very sharp. I find this very easy to use with my hands, and it has a really good sharp little tip. You can also find it useful to have a pair of tweezers around, especially if you're doing a lot of fiddly cuts. So my idea is that we're going to put this over the bottom half of this dress. So you'll still see the bow and the little gathers of the top dress. So it's pretty straightforward. We just need to start by unrolling some of this tape. And with this being a bigger tape, it does help for the fact that, you know, we're going to cover more of this dress in one piece of tape, which is always lovely. Now, being that washi tape is a paper tape, we also have the advantage of the fact that this will remain slightly translucent, which will be important when we work in it later on. So I don't push it down too much at this point, because we may need to move or adjust. Just try to get it down. We're not being too pedantic with the edges. We will be cleaning that up later. And then the main thing is we need to figure out where we can repeat this pattern. So I think that row rose there kind of matches up from memory. Or was it that one over there? It's that one there. Kind of works. So this one doesn't officially have a repeat, but we can kind of give the illusion of a repeat. It doesn't matter too much because this rose is off center for where we're lining it up. I mean, not off center, out of the actual dress pattern. Alright, so that is the basis of our dress covered, just making sure it's nice and smooth. Cool. Right, so now we do the really scary part. We take our scalpel and we start very carefully cutting around the edge, and you want to work very, very gently doing this because the goal is just to cut the tape and not to cut the book. And this is where tweezers can be quite handy to help with lifting, especially if you're me with my hands on a bad hand day, which I'm kind of having, hence the gloves. Just seen we've missed a section over here, but that's absolutely fine because we're going to have a bit of leftover tape that we can sort of shove there to fill in the gaps, particularly in this piece. So, and if we have a look at this side, we've got nothing coming through because I'm only cutting the surface of the tape. This is where it is really imperative to have a sharp blade. So I know we've cut up to there, so we're just going to slice that up there, and then we can just remove this whole piece. This detail covered as well, which means our edge is going to be here. This is another bigger chunk that we can sort of get out. This is also why you don't want to stick it down too firmly, because you want to be able to just pick up and remove. And I nearly removed this whole thing, but we've got a section over here we do need. So just very carefully cut that. See, any of these two pieces will work absolutely fine for shoving that back in there. Right, now had I started in here? I had not. So just working very slowly and carefully. It's better if you don't use the tip of the scalpel to scrape. I've made that mistake before. When you do that, you can end up damaging your paper. So something to be aware of when you do this as well is there is a potential that you will damage the surface of the paper you are cutting. I can see that there is a little bit of surface damage on that one, so I did cut just ever so slightly too deep there. That is okay though for what I am planning to do to finish off this piece. But It's the reason why you've got to try and work as carefully as possible. Because, again, we don't want to cut through, and we especially don't want to cut right through the page, which we have not so far. We've just got a little bit on the surface. Right, so here we have the actual bow. Out that whole piece. We need to leave part of it around here. It's an awkward position. So this is a bit of a fiddly section here. Oh, I think I forgot to take my pain meds most of the time. Yes, I have forgotten to take my pain meds. I should take those. Alright, so I didn't quite cut through the tape right there. So it is a little fiddly, I'm not going to lie. It does take time to do this, but the effect when it's done is just so fantastic, especially for something like clothes where there's just so much detail. In a piece like this where, like, I could sit there and create all the detail obviously, but also these washi tapes create so much detail, so much fun colours and textures, and it just will read really well as different clothing fabrics, which I think is really fun. Alright, I'm just going to rip that piece off. So we're up to this fiddly little bow section. Okay, we're not going through there, so might not have gone quite deep enough there. And we need you to stay down. There we go. Alright, I had a sneaking suspicion I had not actually cut through to the tip of the bow, and I have not. Oh, got there. Right, so that was a bit of an awkward one because we had just the tiniest little sliver coming up there. Alright, so on this side we need to cut out around one of her sister's dresses. We just need a little piece up here cut out. Don't use the tip. I have a tendency to just try and use the tip of the scalpel, which is not good. Alright, and then we just need to match up this with something. Again, we're not really matching up much, so as long as it just sort of reads right. It was a section that I thought would work really well. Yeah, that. Definitely was pressing a bit too hard then. We're good, we still haven't gone through the paper. And then our last little section. So yeah, now it's just a case of deciding, like, I could add, yeah, that could be really cute. So just sticking down 2 pieces. So with this sort of section where the edge of it is not a smooth line, I tend to just cut as if it is a smooth line, and we will use some tricks later to sort of rectify that. So that is our first princess dress done, the tape elements. So I'm now going to put you into time lapse and show you the rest of, or a few more of the dresses. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side. And so here is the taped part of this video completed. This has taken a few hours. One may argue it could have been quicker to just colour these with flat colours. Maybe, but I do love the effect of the dresses. It's looking really patterned in detail, and I like that each of them has like a different colour, and we have a lot of options moving forward of things to pull from. We didn't have too many issues. There was one issue with this particular sleeve when I tried to adhere this tape, and then I realised it was too dark to do the fussy cutting around here, so I chose to put it in the corner where it could just be straight. And when I went to remove it, we did lift part of the paper here, but I just used a fine tip pen and re-sketched in the lines that were removed, and I'll just have to be a bit conscious of that when I am colouring. So yeah, this is where I'm going to leave this part, and then we'll be back in part 2 where we will start using pencils, doing some details, and just sort of finishing off this page. And I have a few ideas, and I think it's going to look super, super cute. So I am excited, but for now, as you can hear, I need a little break, I need a nap, I need to rest my hand because, oh my goodness, it's sore. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next part. Get off tape. Bye.